Make over $6,000 per door at your piece of real estate with assisted living homes. It's a hot topic that's starting to come up even more. And we've got Donzella Burton on the show talking exactly on how you can do that. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment if you're on the YouTube channel. And if you're on the podcast, you are rating, reviewing, give us that 5 stars. Now let's get into the show. If you want financial freedom, time freedom, and want to leave a legacy for generations to come, you probably have heard real estate investing is the place to do that. How do you get started? What do you have to do? When's the right time? If you are looking for those answers, you've come to the right place. My name is Kyle Stanley, and this is Fearless Flipping. My mission is to help you learn this business and conquer real estate investing. Hey everyone, welcome into the Fearless Flipping podcast. I'm Kyle Stanley, and I am so excited to have Donzella Burton on the show today. Donzella is teaching people across the nation how to start their own assisted living homes business, and that's something that I'm really excited about. I actually met Donzella on Instagram because I myself was searching for answers on things, and she popped up. And because she's helping others and teaching others how to do it, I figured, well, instead of me just have a one-on-one conversation with her and keep all that information to myself, let's share it with my audience. So we got on the phone, we got on this call, I should say, with the podcast, and just basically I just treated it like I was interviewing her, trying to figure out and learning about this business because I'm so interested in myself for how to be able to do this. And when she told me that I can essentially do the exact same thing I'm doing with my Airbnb business, which is not even own the house and just rent it out from the landlords, wow, my mind went crazy with this one. So I'm excited for you to start taking a look at this as maybe an exit strategy and opportunity for cash flow or real estate investing. Let's get to it now with Donzella Burton. Hey, we have got the lovely Donzella Burton coming in from Baltimore, Maryland, here on the Fearless Flipping podcast and talking about a very interesting subject for me today, which, guys, I guess we're not even talking about the real estate investing industry, more of the healthcare, but it's done in a piece of real estate. And for that reason, I think it's going to really open some eyes up today. But Donzella, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Hey, guys.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. So, I always ask the same question. You and I were just talking about it before we started the show. I usually ask, what is your most interesting real estate investing story? In this case, I guess it would be, what's your most interesting assisted living / healthcare story in doing this as a business now for 9 years out of pieces of real estate?
So I would say the most interesting or the most funniest or something that has really caught my eye or caught my attention is that sometimes when individuals know that their family members need to be in an assisted living, they need to be in a home-based setting, they try to tell you things that make you want to accept them as a resident. So they'll tell you all the great things, all the good things. Fast forward, I had a woman who told me that her husband needed a private room and, he didn't need much care. And I said, okay, well, let me go and do an assessment just to see for myself what his needs may be. Lo and behold, I went down to the VA hospital in Washington, D.C., and I walked into a bedroom, and a hospital room, I should say, and I saw this gentleman that was literally on the bed, shackled, arms, whoa, legs, and I said, whoa, hold on. I'm in the wrong room, obviously. So I walked back out, and I said to the nurse, I'm looking for such and such and such, and she says, guess what? That's the person you're looking for. And I'm like, holy crap. And so that was kind of not funny to me, but it was funny in a sense that people will tell you anything to place their loved one in a place that's well respected.
Oh gosh. That's kind of heartbreaking too, though, isn't it?
It is. It's very heartbreaking. And it's, like I said, I tell my people, it's all about being honest, because at the end of the day, I'm going to find out what the real reason is as to why they are where they are. Yeah. And it's okay. It doesn't mean that I cannot work with you. It doesn't mean that you cannot place them with me. It just means that they may need a little bit more care. That's all.
Okay. All right. So that brings up kind of where I believe we're a few minutes into the show now, and people are probably raising their eyebrows saying like, what exactly is assisted living? Why is this on the Fearless Flipping podcast? And we're talking about, this isn't even real estate. Actually, you've got a lot of real estate investors that are coming to you and asking lots and lots of questions because they see opportunities to start doing this whole assisted living thing, just like
Absolutely.
myself. That's why I reached out to you out
Yeah.
of their house. So can you just really, like, within 30 seconds here, summarize for our audience,
Yeah.
what is assisted living?
So, like you said, investors and realtors, they're knocking down my door. They're ringing my phone like crazy. Hey, how do I get in this? How do I get involved? How can I get more information? What an assisted living facility is. It's just that. It's a facility where you assist people. And you assist them in a home that may have 6 beds or more. And like I said, it's a home setting. It's not large as a nursing home. So I have a home that has 12 beds. Okay. I have a home that has 9 beds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You don't want to go larger than 15 because then it becomes a nursing home.
Okay.
So assisted living is pretty much a home that the individual, the landlord, or the owner allows you to place individuals in there as long as you're licensed to take care of elderly people.
Okay. And these elderly people, why are they coming? Actually, I'm going to stop right there. I don't want to ask that question yet. I'm going to ask that question in a second. I think the people that are listening right now are most interested in, okay, I see an opportunity to help people, which is always awesome. That's why I started real estate investing. I never saw that side of it of helping people until it was really like casted to me. This is a very obvious niche. People that are later in life, no longer are they able to take care of themselves, and a lot of their family members are having a tough time justifying taking care of them as well. And so here you come in to provide a solution, which is amazing. But from a business standpoint,
Yeah.
I've heard the numbers on this. I need people to hear this straight from the horse's mouth.
Okay, so let me clear something up. All right, so assisted living is just that you're assisting. You're not taking care of them.
Okay.
So with assisted living, you have 3 different levels of care. So there's intermediate, there's moderate, and there's severe. Okay, so those are the different types of people that you could have in your assisted living facility. And of course, if you get a level 3, if you choose to have a level 3, that person possibly may need more care.
Mm-hmm.
With more care comes more money. Okay. So a lot of people say, hey, I'm interested in level 3s, but a level 3 does not necessarily mean that that individual needs a lot more care. You could have someone that could be a level 3 and they may have HIV, or they may have like a traumatic brain injury or something like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bedridden or anything like that. So example, I have an individual that is 60 something years old. He's considered a level 3 because he had a brain injury. He was hit by a truck years ago.
Wow.
I get $3,000 a month for him, and he looks like you and I.
Wow. Does he act exactly like you and I? Like,
he acts, you wouldn't even know it. If we were in a
wow.
room full of people, you would not even know it.
Okay. Now, you say $3,000 a month. Is that coming from their pocket? Is that coming from the state? Where's that coming from?
Mm-hmm. It comes from his pocket. So all my residents are private pay. So these are residents that had great jobs, they have great pensions, and I don't want to wait for any money to come in. So I don't take in any state funding or anything like that. So everything is private pay. So
Okay.
The first of the month, between the 1st and the 3rd, they write me a check, and that's how I get paid.
Now, am I correct? I've done a little bit of research. Am I correct that group homes are usually state funded and
Yes.
assisted living is usually out of their own pocket?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yep.
And does any of their insurance pick that up, or is that strictly from their own pocket?
That's strictly from their own pocket. If they're in a nursing home, then that's when insurance kicks in.
Okay. Got it. So again, let's focus on the numbers here for a second. I've got a lot of other questions about the business model, but you said $3,000 from a level 3 person. We've got level 1, which is intermediate. Level 2 is moderate. Level 3 is severe.
Yeah.
What is the average that you're getting paid per level there?
So it all depends on location as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on what part of the city or the state that you're in, location is key for any business. You want to have parking. You want to make sure that's in a great location. You want to make sure that it's safe. So one of my properties is in a town called Pikesville. Okay. So Pikesville is I don't want to say it's wealthy, but they're pretty well to do. I don't take anyone in that house less than $4,000 a month.
Wow.
And
how
it's
many
a
beds?
9-bed. 9.
9. So you're grossing right around 36 plus thousand per month
For that house.
And what are your expenses?
So my expenses are at that home. Currently, I have 5 residents at that home right now. So say for instance, I have 3 staff there. My staff coverage is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. and the weekend. So I have 3 staff there. So say that my staff that amount is about $7,500 or $8,000 a month for
Okay.
employees. Okay. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I do rent my properties.
Mm-hmm.
It makes more sense to me. That rent there is $2,500.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say cable, electric, and food, maybe another 3,000, if that.
Okay. And when you say food, do you have a cook there, or what's the plan on the food?
So the staff that works during the day, they cook for the residents, and then the weekend staff, they cook for the weekend.
Okay.
So we don't hire or bring in anybody extra to do the cooking. So it's part of their job description.
So you can fit it, what you just used as a real life example here. You can fit 9 in this, but currently there's 5.
Yes.
Okay. And how do you know the gross amount that they're paying? You said minimum 4,000. So I got to imagine that's at least 20. Is that what we're at exactly?
Round about.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. So 20 minus 10, we got $13,500 of repairs. You're netting, if I understand it correctly, over $6,500 in one house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy. Yeah, easy.
Guys, can you see why I wanted to talk to Donzella? I talk all day long about getting an Airbnb and and netting $1,000 a month in one place but you've got a system with one house that is making you essentially what a lot of people make. If you're just renting out real estate, like $6,500 is going to take at least 20 homes to be able to net $6,500, and you're doing it one house. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So, and what I love about it is that you said the exact same thing that I teach with Airbnb, which is you don't have to own the real estate. So, you know, there's a whole teaching that goes into that I'm not even going to get into right now, but what I want people to know is that they can get all of your resources when we get to the end of this podcast right here at fearlessflipping.com/Donzella. But let's talk for a second. You kind of touched on it. What does an ideal house look like? If I'm here in Fresno, California, and I want to go start something like this, obviously there's a lot of things to know, but if I'm going to target the right house, what's that going to look like?
So again, it just depends on the type of residence that you have. Are your residents ambulatory? Okay. If they are, I would say a nice rancher. That's
when you
perfect.
say ambulatory, can you define?
Oh, they're able to walk. They're able to walk. Yeah. So they don't need assistance or anything like that. Or they may have a walker, but they don't have a wheelchair or anything like that. So they're able to walk.
Okay.
So a rancher is perfect. Everyone wants a rancher in this area. My 12-bed facility is looks like an old country style home. It's a 2-story, but it has a chairlift in it.
Okay.
So the residents that have a little difficulty walking up steps, they just get on the chairlift and they go up. So
I'm assuming, sorry not to cut you off, I'm assuming that probably wasn't something that came with this house. Did you have to negotiate with the landlord to put something like that in?
So I actually lucked up on that house. And the reason why I lucked up is because that home was an assisted living prior to me having it. So everything that was already there.
That is very lucky.
Yeah. That was there.
Awesome.
So a lot of times, you do have to have those installed. Okay.
Got it. And so you're saying ranch style, if they're able to move around, as long as there's a chair lift, we got a 2nd story. What about like dimensions of the house, rooms, size, other different amenities that are going to be on that house that would be real beneficial?
So in regards to dimensions, I don't have the exact dimensions, but I will definitely tell you what would need to go into a bedroom. So you could have a private bedroom, which would just have 1 resident, or you could have a semi-private, which would have 2. So you could pretty much figure out the dimensions yourself. In a semi-private, you would need 2 of everything, meaning 2 twin beds, 2 accent chairs, 2 nightstands, 2 lamps. So basically 2 of everything. And then once you add the dresser in there, the dresser drawers need to have 6. So they have 3 drawers each. So if you're able to put 2 of everything in, that's how big the bedroom needs to be.
Okay, one more time. So 2 twin chairs, 2 twin beds, 2 nightstands. What else did you say?
A chest of drawer that needs 3 drawers.
3 drawers. Okay,
So you need 2 lamps, 2 chairs, 2 beds, two
got it.
nightstands.
3
hmm
drawers per person, or for the,
Yeah, so that's why we recommend getting a chest, because a chest usually
got
has
it.
3.
Got it. Okay, got it.
hmm
Perfect. Okay. And now with the entire home, it sounds like you got a diverse uh different types of houses. I guess you could say you got one that's fitting 12, one that's fitting 5 or 6. Is there any regulations of what these houses need to have in terms
Yes,
of the size, in terms of accessibility?
yes. So if you have 5 residents or more in the county, meaning in the suburbs,
Hmm.
you need to have sprinkler systems in the home. You need to have sprinkler systems, and you need to have pull stations in the home. If it's 4 or less, you don't need those in the home.
Okay.
So you need to have sprinkler systems. And so now they're changing the rules even in the city. Now they're saying, okay, before you even open, you need to have the sprinkler systems and the pull stations in the home before the fire marshal even comes in there. So
Okay.
that law supposedly just passed about a week ago. I'm not sure about that, so I need to do my homework and research about that.
Is that specifically in your city and state, or is that just across the board?
I know in my city and state. I'm not
Okay.
sure about it.
Got it. Got it. So with regulations, it's probably going to be different per state.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Where
hmm
does someone go to find out that information? Do you know? Just talk to the
Um,
city?
to your zoning office, and the fire department that's in your area,
Hmm. Okay.
or
Got it.
fire marshal.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Hey, Fearless Flipping community, we are taking a quick break from the podcast to talk about Airbnb. For those of you that don't know, I have built much of my residual income around Airbnb, despite a lot of other investors being really excited about long-term renters. I was not. I saw an opportunity with Airbnb to get to my goals faster, to get more cash flow, and to pay off my houses quicker too. So instead of being really happy like a lot of other investors are with $200 to $300 of cash flow every single month, I've turned my renters and rentals into over $1,000 on average of cash flow every single month. So if you want to learn more about Airbnb, my systems, where I pick my Airbnbs, how I communicate with guests. Maybe you've already got Airbnb as a business on the side right now, but you want to take it to the next level. I am absolutely here to help you. You can book a free consultation with me about Airbnb. Learn more by booking at fearlessflipping.com/consultation, and you get me for 30 minutes for free. That's right, 30 minutes absolutely free. And that's once again fearlessflipping.com/consultation, and I'm looking forward to helping you conquer Airbnb investing. And by the way, I'm so excited about all this. We've completely skipped over your story. So
No, it's okay.
I
It's
need to
fine.
skip back
It's
here for a second.
okay.
I do want to complete some thoughts here though
Sure.
before we get to really knowing like how you got into this. But it is there one or two things that when you're like, boom, that has A, B, and C, and that's how I know it is the perfect place for me to do
Mhm.
this? Are there like, you mentioned location.
Yeah.
What else would go into that?
Um, like I said, location is definitely key. When I found my property in Pikesville, Maryland, I knew that that location was perfect. Number one, because it was a rancher. Okay, had a long driveway, had a huge backyard, had a huge lower level. Everything was just perfect, and that also previously wasn't assisted living, so it was already zoned. Everything was already set up. So I kind of fell into that property as well.
Got it. Okay. So if it's zoned residential, do we have to go to zoning to make sure it's zoned for commercial?
It has to be zone commercial.
Okay, got it. That helps out tremendously.
Yep.
So, have you ever had to rezone something that was currently
I did.
residential?
I
Okay, what
did.
was that process?
My first facility I opened about, oh gosh, about 7 years ago. Was a little small cottage. I knew nothing about assisted living. I had to get the zoning office involved. It cost me about a good $4,000 to do all the
Mm,
zoning and the sketching and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more, I don't want to say difficult, but there's a little bit more legwork that you have to put into it if it's not zoned.
got it. Okay. Um, let me give you a real life example here. I've got a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house
Okay.
that does really, really well with Airbnb.
Okay.
But what I've really been interested to know ever since hearing about this is like, this sounds like it could be a good one for this
Yeah.
assisted living home deal.
Yes.
So the rooms are big. We could definitely fit 2 twin beds in each of them.
Okay.
We could fit everything that you're talking about. It's a 1,400 square foot home with these
Okay.
4 beds and 2 bath. Nice big backyard,
Mm.
and it's residential. So my biggest question has always just kind of been, how are my neighbors are going to feel about this?
That's tough.
Okay.
That's tough. Because what happens is, like I said, when I open my first facility, your neighbors have to know that you are putting in assisted living.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, they put a sign on the front of your yard and say, hey, there's a court hearing that's scheduled tomorrow. If you are for or against this person putting in assisted living, you can come listen, to see what all is involved in this, and what happens when assisted living is there. And, if there are a lot of people in the area that say, hey, we're against it, then you're not going to be able to place it there.
Got it.
And so that, unfortunately, that's great that it didn't happen to me, but they have a say.
Okay.
They have a say.
And let's say I wanted to go talk to my neighbors about it before this court hearing, because I have a good relationship with my neighbors.
Yeah.
What would I tell them would be, hey, these are some of the benefits, but these are some of the realities of it. What would be something that you would be telling your neighbors?
You know what? First of all, you have to be honest
Mm-hmm.
about what happens when you have an assisted living facility. You have to let them know that sometimes you are calling 911 and the EMT is coming. They may come in the middle of the night. You may be disturbed. But also you need to let them know that you will only be housing elderly people. A lot of times people may think assisted living, oh, a group home. So they get the words mixed up. A group home is not an assisted living. So when they come to the realization that there are going to be elderly people there, then they kind of take a backseat and say, okay, now I understand. There's not going to be riffraff. It's not going to be loud. My house, the property value is not going to go down. You know what I mean? So
Right.
You have to be honest, and you need to let them know that, hey, do your homework and do some research in regards to what assisted living is all about.
Okay. Got it. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
if I'm kind of assuming this correctly, it would be much better and a lot less headache, either A, if it's already zone commercial, or B, if it is residential, that it's kind of like tucked away, not really on top of each other, like a cookie cutter type of neighborhood, maybe a
Yeah.
little bit more land in between to give people the space and not even really realize what's going on over
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
there. Okay.
Now I'm going to talk about real quick now in our city here, we have different laws. So in the suburbs here, you cannot put, and this law just changed maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, you cannot have another assisted living within 1,000 feet of another one. That's only in the suburbs. In the city, you can have them next door. You can have them all over.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
Interesting. Okay. Good to know. Now, as you could tell, I was so excited to jump in all this. I completely skipped over who you are, and here we are 20 minutes into the show. Let's back up for a second. Donzella, how did you get into this? Where were you before this? I want people to hear your story.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm originally from Pennsylvania. Okay, I'm originally from Pennsylvania, and my dream job was to be a flight attendant. Go figure. I did. I got a job as a flight attendant, and it was supposed to be out of Baltimore, BWI. Long story short, they changed at the last minute and said, hey, now it's in Atlanta. I'm like, oh my God, that's too far. I can't. I want to be away from Pennsylvania, but not that far. So I said, I'm still going to move to Baltimore. At that time, I was working for the electric company. I was a secretary. Like I said, knew nothing about healthcare. And I got into this relationship, and he says, hey, you need to bring in a little bit more money. How about assisted living? And I'm thinking, what the heck is that? I never heard of assisted living. Never heard of it. My mom always taught me, you get a 9 to 5, you have good benefits, you're able to pay your bills. That's all you need. I'm like, that's what my mom taught me. He's like, there's so much more to life than that. I'm like, okay. So fast forward, I went over to an individual's house, and she had this big, humongous house, probably about 6,000 square feet. And I'm like, oh my God, what is it that she does? Assisted living. And so I thought about it for about 2 weeks, and I said, you know what? There's a lot that comes with this. There's a lot of challenges that come with it. I'm opting out. I don't want to be involved with it. Fast forward, the next thing I knew, my partner had scheduled me to take these certification classes. He had already enrolled me, and he's like, no, this is what you're going to do. So I took the classes, got certified. Within that next week, we found our first house. Then I got another one. Then I got another one. So it was like I was rolling it, just rocking and rolling. So I had 4 at one time.
Wow. And this is year 1?
This was year 3.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So I had 2 in the first year.
Okay. Wow.
2 in the first year. Yeah. So I was rocking and rolling. My first one was a small 4-bed, and then I had that for 6 months, and then I got my 12-bed.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I was loving the money that was coming in,
Of course, right?
Yeah. But sometimes you lose sight. And what I have learned throughout the years is that it's not about how many, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. It's about the quality of care that you're able to give. And I felt like when I had 4, I was not giving the quality that they should have gotten. So I have 2 now, but I make a lot more money with these 2 because I'm focused on only those 2. So I have 17 residents, but I make a decent amount of money.
A decent amount. I like that answer. Okay, awesome. So thank you for sharing that. And I think the big thing there is, that learning moment of having someone in your life where it's like, hey, by the way, there's more to just paying your bills and just making it by and retiring a couple of years before you die. So that in itself is a great teaching moment. What would you say if someone is looking to get into this type of business? What are some things that they need to know? We already casted some vision here. You've got 2, there's people out there with, I know, a lot, and you've chosen the route of quality versus quantity, which in itself is a business builder mentality. I take the same approach with my Airbnbs. I think about, okay, instead of going and getting another one, how can I add another opportunity to make more money on one property so I don't have to manage as many locations? So without that being said, what are some things that people now need to know are the realities? I've heard you say a couple of times you got your certification. I'm sure there's a lot of liability that we talk about with this. What are things that beyond the numbers, if someone's serious about this, they need to know before they jump in head first?
So they need to know, I think the first thing that they need to know is that when you submit your application, it doesn't happen overnight. There's like a 6 to 7 month wait before the state even comes out. So that is your opportunity to learn the business. Okay. You also have to understand that within that 6 to 7 month period, you're paying rent or a mortgage on an empty property.
Got it.
So that was the most challenging part for me. I paid rent on an empty property for 6 months.
Wow. Okay.
But what's happening with these investors, what they're doing, and I'm educating them on saying, hey, listen, people are they want to get into this business, but they cannot afford to pay rent here and still take care of the responsibilities over here. Okay. So what they're doing is they're saying, okay, I'm allowing you to pay half of the rent for 3 to 4 months. And then the 5th or 6th month, hopefully or prayerfully, you'll have your license. And then that's when you'll start paying me for the full rent.
Okay. Wow.
So that's what's happening. Yeah.
And landlords are okay with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And it's better to get some income than none.
Okay. There you go. I like it. I like it. So what about when you have that first one? Is it a pre-approval process for you as a person for 6 to 7 months, or for that property 6 to 7 months?
For you as an individual, not the property.
So once you have been approved for the first one, you can essentially go out there and get another and another without having to go through that approval process again?
Well, no, each home needs to have its own license.
Okay.
So say, for instance, if you have a license at this house and you decide to leave this house, that license does not transfer over there.
Got it. So it is a pre-approval process for each location.
Absolutely. For each property.
Got it. Okay. So that's definitely a reality. How do you help people get over that fear? They've just heard that, they heard all the numbers, and now that was like that heart sinking moment, and they're like, no, I'm not going to take that risk. How do you help them get over that?
You know what? And I tell them my story. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And it's easier, I would say, the first time to do it with a partner. Because you're sharing the expense. Okay. So it's a lot easier, like I said, to do it with a partner. You're sharing the expense. And then once you get that one up and rolling, then you jump into your second one. Once you get into your second one, get into that second one with the partner as well. And then you decide, hey, let's split. You take that one and I'll take this one.
That's good.
It makes it
That's
much
good.
more easier. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a certain amount of reserves that you think is smart getting into one of these deals?
Well, my first one, I spent about $20,000 on my first house.
Okay.
Okay, so $20,000. Like I said, you have to take in effect that I paid rent on an empty property. The rent was $1,500. So I paid 6 months or 7 months.
So you're on
Yes, I think it was like $600, so $1,500. Yeah. So then the rest was just kind of getting the house together, getting the furniture and the beds and so on and so forth. So if I didn't have that, the rent, I don't think it would be as bad.
Okay.
But I think a good $20,000, I think, is what you would need in order to start an assisted living.
You can probably go out and raise that money from an investor. I don't know if you've done that route. Have you?
I have not.
Yeah. That's
I have
fine.
not. You know what? So when I got into this business, I only used my money. No loans, no credit cards, nothing. Everything was just cash, so I didn't have to worry about paying it back.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay.
So it worked.
I'm trying to think if there's anything I haven't asked yet, because we've gone over a lot. The big thing that I think is really cool is that you've casted some vision for our audience, and I don't want to overcomplicate this thing. So I think now is probably just a good time to just tell people how you help them in this process and really where they can connect with you.
Sure. I just want to say one other thing before I end with that. The hardest part or the most challenging part about this business is staff.
Staff. Okay.
Great staff, good staff is hard to come by. They're just hard to come by. So if you have someone that stays with you at least 2 or 3 years, that's a good run.
Absolutely.
They get burnt out. There's a lot of, theft is involved.
Wow.
So it's difficult. Even though, sometimes people say, well, I have cameras in my facility. Okay, that's good. That's fine. You have people that possibly could be on drugs, and then residents have narcotics. You have to be mindful of that. So there's a lot that comes with this business. And a lot of times people want to get involved in it because they're looking at the money aspect of it. There's so much more that you need to look into before deciding to jump into this. So if you are thinking about getting into this business, I do offer seminars monthly. You can find me on Instagram under The Assisted Living Coach, my website, theassistedlivingcoach.com, or on Facebook, Donzella Burton.
Perfect. The Assisted Living Coach. Just look that up on Instagram. Look that up on, you said theassistedlivingcoach.com, right?
Yes.
All right. And again, we're going to have all that information on the show notes. All you have to do is go to fearlessflipping.com/Donzella. And so Donzella, one last thing here, you just mentioned staff. If there's anything else that you can leave our audience with to help them just take that leap and just give this a shot, what is that one thing?
That one thing to me is that, elderly is here to stay. I mean, we're all getting old. Okay. So we're going to need to be taken care of some way or another. Okay. People are living a lot longer, and you need to get into a business that you're going to benefit from financially, and also being able to bless others and take care of others. I've been so lucky and so fortunate once I got into this business, well respected. When people know that you're out there taking care of elderly people, they look at you totally different. Totally different. And there's nothing that I will not do for my residents. Like, I love them. I'm their daughter, I'm their mother, I'm their sister. I love them. So it becomes another part of your family. That's
awesome. So much more than a business. It becomes part of your family.
Absolutely.
That's so cool. Donzella, thank you so much for helping our audience today to see another part of real estate investing and conquer even the healthcare side of real estate investing. Thank you so much. fearlessflipping.com/Donzella is where you can find those show notes. Donzella is spelled Donzella. And she's got all those resources from Facebook to Instagram to her website. It's all in the show notes. You can connect with her and you can start conquering assisted living investing. That's right, assisted living. I bet you didn't think you were going to be so excited about this today, but today is the day that you take a look at assisted living. Make sure you go out, have a great week. We'll talk to you later.